Welcome to our channel, English Forest. Picture a boy sweeping the floor of a small shop. It is late. Everyone has gone home. His arms ache. The broom is almost taller than he is. Through the window, he can see the lights of a city he cannot afford to live in. And in his head, quietly, he is dreaming of something enormous. Something that makes no sense for a boy with a broom. Everyone who knows him would laugh if he said it out loud. So he does not say it out loud. He just keeps sweeping and dreaming in the dark. Maybe you know that feeling. The dream that feels too big for your small life right now. Here is what I want you to know before we go any further. You feel a gap between where you are and where you dream of being. That gap is not a sign that the dream is wrong. Everyone who ever did anything great once stood exactly where you stand now. Small, unknown. Full of a dream that seemed absurd. The famous, successful people you admire were not born on the mountaintop. They started in the valley, just like you. Looking up. Feeling small. Wondering if they were foolish to want so much. The only difference is they took the first step up anyway. So do not be ashamed of a dream that feels too big. That feeling is not proof you are wrong. It is proof you are aiming high enough to matter. Today, I want to talk about dreaming big. Not the empty kind, where people just shout, "Be positive," and chase your dreams. I mean the real kind. The kind that is quiet and a little frightening and lives inside you even when nothing around you supports it. Here is what I believe plainly. A big dream is not a foolish thing. It is one of the most powerful forces a human being can carry. And the size of your dream matters more than you think. Stay with me, and as you listen, your English grows quietly too, one word at a time. Let me tell you why the size matters. Most people do not fail because they aim too high and miss. Most people fail because they aim too low and hit. Think about that for a moment. They set a small, safe goal. They reach it, and then they spend the rest of their lives wondering why they feel so empty. A small dream, safely reached, can be sadder than a big dream that was never finished, because the small dream never asked anything of you. It never made you grow. It never woke up the giant that was sleeping inside you. Let me ask you something. When did you first learn to dream small? Because you were not born that way. Watch any small child. Ask them what they want to be. They say astronaut, president, a superhero who saves the world. No child says, "I want a safe, reasonable job that does not upset anyone." Children dream enormous. It is their natural state. So what happened to us? Somewhere along the way, the world taught us to shrink. A teacher said, "Be realistic." A parent, out of love and fear, said, "Do not get your hopes too high." We failed at something once, and it stung, so we quietly lowered the bar to protect ourselves. Bit by bit, year by year, the giant dream shrank into a small, safe wish, and we called that growing up. But it was not growing up. It was giving up, slowly, so slowly, we never noticed the day it happened. The good news is this: that giant dream did not die. It only went to sleep. It is still in there, under the years of caution and disappointment. And it can wake up. Any day you choose, it can wake up. It is never too late to remember what you wanted before the world told you to want less. A big dream does something strange and wonderful to a person. It pulls you forward. It gets you out of bed on the hard mornings. It gives your struggle a meaning. When you are tired, a small goal lets you quit. But a big dream whispers, keep going, this is bigger than your tiredness. The dream becomes an engine. It turns your pain into fuel, and notice what that means. The hard things in your life, the struggles, the setbacks, the long tiring days, they stop being only pain. When you have a big dream, all of it becomes material. The struggle becomes training. The setback becomes a lesson. The tiredness becomes proof that you are pushing towards something real. Without a dream, pain is just pain. With a dream, that same pain has a purpose. And purpose changes everything. The exact same hardship can break a person or build them. The difference is whether they carry a dream big enough to give the pain a meaning. And slowly, without you even noticing, you become a different person. Not because you reached the dream yet, but because chasing it made you grow. Think about the difference a dream makes on a hard day. Two people wake up exhausted. Neither wants to get out of bed. The first person has no real dream, just a routine to survive. So the tiredness wins easily. Why push when there is nothing big to push toward? But the second person has a dream that burns in them. And that dream says, get up, this matters, this is bigger than how tired you feel. So they rise. Same tiredness. Same hard morning. But one had a reason strong enough to move them, and one did not. That is what a big dream gives you, not magic. A reason. A reason strong enough to carry you through the days when nothing else could. The bigger the dream, the stronger the pull. This is exactly why aiming small is so dangerous. A small dream cannot pull you through a hard day. It is not strong enough. Only a big dream has that kind of power. And here is something worth knowing about how dreams grow. A dream you keep secret often stays weak, but a dream you commit to out loud, in writing, in daily action, begins to grow stronger. It starts to feel real. It starts to pull at you. The more you feed it with small steps, the more alive it becomes. So do not just hold your dream lightly, hoping. Feed it. Every small action you take is food for the dream. And a well-fed dream grows strong enough to carry you. Now here is the part almost no one tells you. When you dream big, the world will try to make you dream small. Count on it. The moment you say your big dream out loud, faces will change. Some will laugh. Some will worry for you. Some will say, be realistic. Who do you think you are? And here is the hard truth. Often, the people who try to shrink your dream are not your enemies. They love you. They are afraid you will get hurt. They want to protect you from disappointment, but protection and dreams do not mix well. A protected dream is a dream that never leaves the ground. So you have to understand something. When someone tells you your dream is too big, listen carefully. They are usually telling you about the size of their own courage. They are not telling you about the size of your possibility. Their fear is real, but it is theirs, not yours. You do not have to carry it. You can love them and thank them and still keep your dream exactly as big as it was. You are allowed to want more than the people around you wanted. That is not arrogance. That is the beginning of every great life that has ever been lived. Let me tell you about the fear, because it is real, and I will not pretend it is not. A big dream is frightening. It is much safer to want something small. If you want little, you cannot lose much. If you aim low, you cannot fall far. So most people, without ever deciding to, choose the safety of a small life. They trade the dream for the comfort. And for a while it feels wise, it feels grown up. But years later, something aches. A quiet voice asks, what if? What if I had tried? What if I had believed? That what if is one of the heaviest things a human being can carry. And you can avoid it. Not by succeeding at everything, but simply by daring to try. There is a myth we need to break. The myth says the safe path is actually safe. It is not. We think if we want little and risk nothing, we are protected. But look at where that safety leads. It leads to a life that is comfortable and small and quietly disappointed. It leads to that ache of what if. So the safe path was never truly safe. It just moved the danger somewhere you could not see it right away. It traded the risk of failure for the certainty of regret. And of the two, regret is far heavier because it lasts a lifetime and teaches you nothing. So understand this clearly. There is risk in chasing your dream, yes, but there is also risk in not chasing it. Every path has a price. The only question is which price you would rather pay. The sharp price of trying, or the long, dull price of wondering forever. Think about the two kinds of pain in life. There is the pain of trying and failing, and there is the pain of never trying at all. The first pain is sharp, but it heals. You tried, it did not work, it hurt, and then you learned and moved on. But the second pain is different. The pain of never trying never fully heals. It becomes a quiet ache that follows you for years. It shows up late at night. It whispers, what if? What could my life have been if only I had been brave? That is the heaviest regret a person can carry, and the saddest part is this. It was completely avoidable. Not by winning, simply by trying. When you are old, you will almost never regret the things you tried and failed at. You will regret the things you were too afraid to attempt. So choose the pain that heals over the pain that lingers. Choose the sharp, honest ache of trying over the dull, lifelong ache of wondering. Now let me clear up a big misunderstanding about dreaming big. People think a big dream means a big first step. It does not. This is where so many people freeze. They look at the enormous dream, and they see the huge distance between here and there, and they feel crushed. It seems impossible. So they never start. But no one climbs a mountain in one jump. You climb it one step at a time. A big dream is reached by small actions, repeated for a long time. There is a beautiful truth hidden here. You do not need to know the whole path. You only need to see the next step. When you drive at night, your headlights only show the road a little way ahead. You cannot see your whole journey, but you do not need to. You can make the entire trip seeing only the next small piece of road. A big dream is exactly like this. You will not see the whole way. It will be dark past a certain point. That is normal. That is not a reason to stop. Just light up the next step and take it. When you reach it, the next piece of road will appear. This is how every long journey is made. Not by seeing the end from the start, but by trusting the next step to reveal the one after it. Think of the boy with the broom again. He does not become great by dreaming. He becomes great by sweeping that floor better than anyone, then learning one small skill, then another, then saying yes to one hard task others refused. Each step is tiny, almost invisible. But the dream gives every tiny step a direction. That is the secret. The dream is huge, but the steps are small. You hold the big picture in your heart, and you take the small step in front of you. And you do it again tomorrow. And again. That is how impossible things get done. So do not let the size of the dream frighten you into stillness. You are not asked to cross the whole ocean today. You are asked to take one stroke. Then rest, then one more. The dream lives far away on the horizon, but your job is only the next small motion. Keep your eyes on the horizon and your hands on the next stroke. The distance takes care of itself. Now we have to talk about failure, because you cannot dream big without meeting it. If you chase something large, you will fall. Many times. This is not a sign that the dream was wrong. It is the price of the dream being big. Small dreams have small failures. Big dreams have big ones. But here is what changes everything. The people who reach great things are not the ones who never fell. They are the ones who stood back up one more time than they fell. Think about what failure really is. We treat it like the end. But failure is just information. It says, not this way, try another. A child learning to walk falls 100 times. We do not say the child has failed at walking. We say the child is learning to walk. The falling is the learning. It was never separate from it. Watch a baby who is learning to walk. She pulls herself up. She wobbles. She falls. She sits there for a second, surprised. And then she does something amazing. She pulls herself up again. She does not lie on the floor and give up. She does not think she was not born for this. She does not decide walking is for other babies. She does not compare herself to the baby next door. She does not quit. She simply rises and tries again 1,000 times until one day she is running. If we kept the heart of that baby, there is almost nothing we could not learn. Somewhere along the way, most of us lost it. We started counting our falls and calling them proof, but the baby had it right all along. Falling is not the opposite of walking. It is how walking is built. Your falls are not proof that you cannot. They are the steps by which you learn how. Every person you admire has a long hidden history of falling that you never saw. You only see the standing. But under the standing is a mountain of falls. Let me give you some real examples. You know the fried chicken sold all over the world. The one with the smiling old man in the white suit. His name was Harlan Sanders. And do you know when he started? He was already in his 60s. He had a small check from the government and a recipe for chicken. That was all. He drove from restaurant to restaurant offering his recipe. And they said no. Again and again. He was rejected, by some accounts, more than 1,000 times. Over 1,000 doors closed in his face. He was an old man, sleeping in his car, hearing no from the whole world. And then, one day, someone said yes. And that one yes built an empire that still feeds the planet today. He was over 60, with almost nothing, and he refused to believe it was too late. Or think of the woman who wrote the story of the boy wizard. Those books that millions of children grew up on. Before all of that, she was a single mother. She was poor and often sad. She wrote in cafes because she could barely heat her home. She finished her book. And the publishers turned her down. Not once. 12 times. 12 times she was told, no, this is not good enough. Imagine believing in something that much and being told no 12 times. And then the 13th said yes. And that yes changed the world of storytelling forever. Or the man whose name is now on theme parks and films across the earth. Early on, a newspaper editor fired him. The reason they gave was that he lacked imagination. Imagine that. The man who would fill the world with imagination, fired for having none. His first company went bankrupt. He had almost nothing. But he kept drawing, kept dreaming, kept believing in a little mouse no one else could see yet. What looked like the end was only the beginning. Here is what I want you to see in all of these. None of them succeeded because they were special from the start. They succeeded because they refused to stop. The rejection was not a wall. It was a door they had to knock on many times. And the only difference between them and the thousands who quit was this. They knocked one more time. Here is one more, and this one is about talent. There was a boy who loved basketball more than anything, and as a teenager, he tried out for his school team. And he did not make it. He was cut. Told he was not good enough. Imagine how that felt, to love something that much and be told no. He could have quit right there and believed he simply was not talented enough. Instead, he used that no as fuel. He practiced harder than anyone. He turned the rejection into fire. And he became, by the judgment of most of the world, the greatest to ever play the game. The point is not that he was born great. The point is that even the greatest were once told they were not good enough. The no is not the end of the story. Sometimes the no is the very thing that lights the fire. So let me ask you something. What have people told you no about? What dream did someone laugh at? What did a teacher, a parent, a friend say you could not do? Hold that in your mind for a moment. Because here is the truth, that no does not have to be the end of your story. It can be the beginning. Every person we just talked about heard no. Loud and often, and from people who seemed to know better. They were told they lacked talent or imagination or a future. And they were wrong, all of them, about all of these great people. So why would you believe them about you? The people who doubt you cannot see your future. They can only see your present. And your present is not your limit. It is just your starting line. So change how you meet your failures. When you fall, do not ask, why am I so bad at this? Ask, what did this teach me? One question keeps you on the ground. The other helps you rise. The dream is not asking you to be perfect. It is asking you to be persistent, to fall and learn and rise and try again, slightly wiser each time. That is not failure. That is exactly how success is built, quietly, out of 1,000 small defeats. There is an old saying I love. Fall down 7 times, get up 8. Notice the numbers. 8 times up, 7 times down. It means the only thing that ever really matters is that you rise one more time than you fall. You do not have to fall less than other people. You do not have to be stronger or luckier or more gifted. You only have to be the one who gets up one more time. That is a choice available to anyone, on any day, no matter how many times they have already fallen. The whole game can turn on a single decision to rise again when everything in you wants to stay down. And that decision is always, always yours to make. And let me say something gentle about time, because this is where many dreamers lose heart. A big dream takes long, much longer than you want. You will do the small steps, and for a long time, nothing visible will change. This is the hardest part. Not the work, the waiting. The stretch where you are planting seeds and seeing no flowers. Most people quit right here, in the quiet middle, just before the growth shows. They dig up the seed to check on it again and again, and so it never grows. But the growth is happening underground where you cannot see it. Trust the unseen growth. Keep watering. The flowers come to those who do not dig up the seed. I want you to understand what is really happening in that quiet middle time. When a farmer plants a seed, the ground looks empty for weeks, nothing on the surface. But underneath, the seed is doing the most important work of its life. It is growing roots. Deep, strong roots that no one can see. And here is the thing. If the plant grew tall and fast before it grew those roots, the first strong wind would knock it down. The slow, invisible time is not wasted time. It is when your roots grow. It is what will hold you up later when the success finally comes and the winds get stronger. So when you are in that quiet stretch, doing the work and seeing nothing, do not despair. You are not stuck. You are growing roots, and the deeper the roots, the taller you can safely rise. So be patient with the slow days. They are not empty. They are building something under the surface. The world will not clap for you during this time. No one claps for a seed, but the seed does not need applause. It just needs to keep growing quietly, in the dark, until the day it breaks through. Your quiet days are those days. Keep going through them. What grows in silence now will stand tall in the light later. Here is something deeper about big dreams that took me a long time to understand. A big dream does not just change what you do. It changes who you become. When you decide to chase something great, something shifts. You are forced to grow into the kind of person who could reach it. You have to become more disciplined, more brave, more patient, more skilled. The dream, in a sense, builds a better version of you just by being pursued. So even the dreams that are never fully reached are not wasted, because the person you became while chasing them is real and yours forever. Let me make this very concrete. Say your dream is to build something great and it takes you 10 years. And say at the end you do not fully reach it. Most people would call that 10 wasted years. But look closer. Over those 10 years, you learned discipline you never had. You learned to keep going when it was hard. You made skills you did not have before. You met people you would never have met. You discovered strength in yourself you did not know was there. You are now a completely different person than the one who started. That person, that stronger, wiser, braver you, does not disappear because the goal was not met. You keep that person for the rest of your life, and that person will go on to do things the old you never could. So the dream did its work. It was never really about the finish line. It was about who you had to become to run the race. This is why a dream can never truly fail you as long as you truly chase it. The outer result is never fully in your control, but the inner growth always is. Aim at something great. Give it your real effort. And no matter what the world hands you at the end, you win the deeper prize. You become more. And becoming more is the one thing no one can ever take from you. This is why I say aim high, even if you are not sure. A person aiming at the stars and landing halfway still travels further than the person who aimed at the ceiling. Your dream is like a target. If you aim low, you stay low. If you aim high, even your failures happen at a higher level than most people's successes. So the dream itself, regardless of the ending, lifts your whole life upward. It raises the floor. It makes an ordinary life extraordinary, simply by pointing it at something worthy. Let me show you this with a simple picture. Imagine two archers. The first one aims at a target 10 steps away. Easy, safe. He hits it every time and feels fine and never improves. The second archer aims at a target far in the distance, one that is hard to even see. She misses often, but every time she draws the bow toward that far target, she grows. A little stronger, a little more skilled, a little more focused. After a year, the first archer can still only hit the easy, close target. But the second archer, from all that reaching, can now hit targets the first one could never dream of. Her failures made her better than his successes. That is what aiming high does. Even your misses aimed high lift you above the people who only aimed low. So aim far, aim at the target that scares you. Even if you miss, you will become someone who could not have existed if you had aimed safe. And there is a beauty here that goes beyond you. When you dare to dream big, you give quiet permission to everyone watching. The boy with the broom who becomes something great does not only change his own life. He becomes proof for every other boy with a broom that it can be done. Your courage is contagious. Your dream, chased openly, tells others that their dream is allowed too. So dreaming big is not selfish. It is one of the most generous things you can do. You go first, so others can follow. Think of who might be watching you right now. A younger brother or sister. A son or a daughter. A friend who is quietly scared to try their own thing. They are watching what you do with your one life. If you play small, you teach them without a word that playing small is what people do. But if you dare to reach, something changes. If you chase something that scares you, you show them a different way to be alive. You may never know whose courage you lit. Somewhere, someone will try something brave because they once saw you try. That is how dreams spread through the world. One brave person at a time, each one giving the next one permission. Your dream is bigger than you. It always was. Let me speak to the fear one more time, because I know it is still there. You might be thinking, but you do not know my situation. You do not know how little I have, how late I have started. How many people depend on me, and you are right. I do not know your particular life, but I know this. Almost every person who ever did something great started with too little, too late, and too many reasons to quit. The circumstances are never perfect. The perfect time never comes. The dream is not waiting for your life to become easy. It is waiting for you to decide it is worth trying anyway, even now, even here, even as you are. Listen to the excuses your mind makes and notice something about them. I am too old. I am too young. I do not have the money. I do not have the education. I do not have the time. I have too many responsibilities. It is too late for me. Every one of these feels like a solid wall. But remember the old man with his chicken recipe. He was in his 60s, with a tiny government check, sleeping in his car. By every excuse in the world, it was far too late for him. and he built something that outlived him and reached the whole planet. The single mother writing in cold cafes had every reason to quit. She had almost nothing. And she gave the world a story that millions will read for 100 years. The excuses are real. The hardships are real. But they are not the end of the story. They are just the hard beginning of a story worth telling. Your situation is not a reason you cannot. It is the very thing that will make your success mean something. And here is a gentle truth about the perfect moment. It never comes. There will never be a day when you have enough money, enough time, enough courage, and no fear. If you wait for that day, you will wait your whole life. The people who do great things do not wait for the fear to go away. They feel the fear, and they take the step anyway. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is being afraid and moving forward anyway, so do not wait to feel ready. You will never feel fully ready. Start before you are ready. That is the secret almost every brave person learned. You become ready by beginning, not before it. So what do you do with all of this? You start. Not tomorrow, not someday. You take one small step toward the big thing today. You say the dream out loud, at least to yourself. You write it down. You do the one small action in front of you, and then you protect that dream. You guard it from the voices that want to shrink it, including the voice inside your own head. You keep it as big as it was on the day it first frightened you. Let me give you something practical to hold on to. First, get clear on the dream. Vague dreams are easy to ignore. Say it plainly to yourself. Not I want to do something someday, but the real, specific, frightening thing you actually want. Second, write it down where you can see it. A dream in your head is a wish. A dream on paper starts to become a plan. Third, find the one small step you can take this week, not the whole mountain. Just the next stone. Make a call. Learn one skill, write one page. Send one message, something small and real and today. Fourth, expect the doubters. Some will be around you. One will be inside your own head. Decide in advance that you will not let them shrink it. And fifth, promise yourself something about falling. You will fall. When you do, treat it as a lesson and rise. Do not treat it as a verdict and quit. That is the whole method. Clarity. A written dream. A small step. A guarded heart. And the decision to rise every time you fall. And you accept that this will be hard. That there will be falls. That there will be long, quiet stretches where nothing seems to move. And through all of it, you keep taking the next small step with your eyes fixed on that far horizon. Because a life spent chasing a great dream, even one you never fully catch, is a life worth living. And a life spent hiding from your dream, playing small to stay safe, is the only real failure there is. Let me take you back to that boy with the broom, one last time. He is still there, in the quiet shop, sweeping the floor, dreaming his impossible dream. Now here's the question that decides everything. Two roads lie in front of him. On the first road, he listens to the world. He decides the dream is silly. He puts it away, takes a safe and small path, and never risks the pain of trying. On the second road, he keeps the dream alive. He sweeps that floor with pride. He learns everything he can. He takes one small step, then another. He falls and he rises. He waits through the long, quiet years, and slowly, slowly, he builds his impossible thing. We do not know for certain how the second road ends. Maybe he reaches the dream. Maybe he reaches only part of it. But we know exactly how the first road ends. It ends with an old man someday staring at the ceiling, whispering, "What if? Which road do you want your life to be?" The choice is not made once. It is made every single day in 100 small decisions. And it is being made by you right now, today. Before we close, I want to leave you with one image to keep. Picture a small seed in your hand. It is tiny. It looks like nothing, but inside that seed is a whole tree. Branches, leaves, shade, fruit, and 100 more seeds. All of it, already there, folded inside something you could lose between your fingers. Your dream is that seed. Right now it looks small. It looks like nothing next to the huge world around you. But inside it is your whole future, folded up, waiting. The seed does not become a tree by wishing. It becomes a tree by being planted and watered and given time. So plant your dream, water it with small daily steps. Give it the long, patient time it needs. And one day you will stand in the shade of something wonderful. Something you once held, tiny and doubtful, in the palm of your hand. So here is everything I wanted to tell you today, gathered into a few plain words. Do not be afraid to dream big. The size of your dream is not foolish. It is the engine of your whole life. Most people fail not by aiming too high, but by aiming too low and hitting. A big dream will frighten you, and it will frighten the people who love you, and that is normal. Reach it not by giant leaps, but by small steps taken every day. You will fall, and the falling is how you learn. The waiting will be long, but the growth is happening underground. And the person you become while chasing the dream is the real prize, no matter how the story ends. You were not made to play small. You were made to reach. So keep your eyes on the horizon, take the next small step, and dream as big as you dare. The world is waiting for what only you can bring to it. If this video helped you, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and keep growing every day.